Hey, friends, if you feel like you've tried everything for your pet and still don't have answers, you're not missing anything. You're missing information. So many of our chronic pet problems don't show up. Let me turn that off. I have a little feedback there. So you're not missing anything. Most of our chronic pet issues don't show up where most pet parents are looking. And in a few minutes, I'm going to show you how to uncover those patterns that are hidden that are causing a lot of frustration for pet parents because they're doing blood work over and over and over, and the blood work's normal, or they're doing other testing over and over, and everything's coming out fine, or they're fixing all these things. Like maybe you're doing a microbiome test and you've got that fixed, and you've done a food sensitivity test and you've figured out your pet's triggers and you've eliminated those, but the symptoms just keep showing up and they show up randomly. You've got skin issues that just kind of smolder along. You've got, maybe some reflux or diarrhea or constipation in your pet that just cycles or shows up randomly even though you're not changing the food. It's really crazy. So, and it can drive you crazy because you're doing all these things. You're doing everything you can and you still don't feel like you're getting any answers. You're switching the foods, you're adding supplements, you're going to the vet over and over, you're having all the lab tests done, you're doing your own research. The blood tests are all normal. Happens in people too. So what I have found that there's more going on underneath the surface than we realize. And we've got to dig a little deeper. You've done the blood work, you've done the maybe the microbiome test, you've done the food sensitivity test, maybe you've checked for mold toxicity, like you've done all the things and you've tried all the supplements, but we need to dig a little deeper. And the reason I'm so excited about this test, and I'll talk to you about the test, is because I have had good success with it with my patients when we figure out what's going on and we correct the imbalances. And I've also had the test run on myself, and it was incredible. Like all these weird symptoms I had and all the fatigue I had, I was so exhausted. Like when we figured it out and I got help with how to detox and how to replace things um, that were missing in my body, um, primarily minerals, everything changed. Like I went from not feeling good to feeling great. So, and this happens in pets too. So, the signs that your pet has that you can't get under control are just signs that their body is struggling to maintain balance. And the body is working hard. It's working hard to adapt to what it has. So, what'll happen is minerals in the body will get depleted or they'll get out of balance, and detox pathways, which are like the liver, the kidneys, the gut, they get overloaded and the body just can't self-correct. And it just gets stuck and it stalls and it's like treading water. You're just barely keeping your head above water. And your body's trying, or your pet's body is trying to figure it out, and they just can't get over that hump because they don't have what they need to do that. Um, and it's about minerals. These are very, um, minerals are very important in the body, and they're important for metabolism and all the different um, metabolic functions in the body have to have minerals to actually work. And when the minerals are out of balance or they are depleted, the body can't do the basic functions it needs to survive, or to heal, or to have the energy, or maybe you get some weird arthritis signs in a young pet that don't make sense. This is all because the body can't self-correct itself. So, why do minerals get depleted? Or why are they depleted or why are they out of balance? One reason is the soil quality that we have now in the world is really pitiful. So we've basically, farming has been, um, we've had land over farmed and pesticide use and herbicide use and all that has destroyed the soil quality. And so our soil literally doesn't have the minerals it used to. And so we're growing plants on depleted soil, so the plants are depleted, and the plants are in our food or our pets' food, and they don't have the minerals that they need or the balance of minerals that they need. And then we're feeding those crops to other animals like, cows and pigs and chickens um, that then we're using in pet food or that we're ingesting if we're omnivores. And those foods lack the minerals and lack the balance of minerals that they used to. They simply don't have the mineral balance and the quantity of minerals that they used to. So what we're eating is not as good. And then the other thing that will happen is when pet food is processed, the processing reduces the minerals that are in the food and it shifts the mineral ratios. And then synthetic vitamins and minerals are added to foods because they know that by cooking at high heat, that's going to destroy the minerals and the vitamins in the food. So then they add the synthetic vitamins and minerals, and those are just not as bioavailable. So your pet's body cannot use the synthetic versions of vitamins and minerals that they make in the lab like they could the natural minerals and vitamins that are naturally in the food. So the other thing that I alluded to was the mineral relationships. So we have um, ratios, and a mineral does not do its job alone. It has to. It works with other minerals, so they work together. They're synergistic. So, for example, calcium. If we have too much calcium, then it increases the need for more magnesium. And if we have excess copper, that can block zinc. So the ratios and relationships between the minerals, if those are out of whack, it will affect the other ones. So it's kind of a complicated thing. Then we also have environmental exposure of um, toxins and chemicals. So, like our lawn chemicals and our household cleaners and the linings of cans and the canned foods and our flea and tick products, those are all chemicals and toxins. Then there are other toxins like mercury and lead and arsenic that pets and we are exposed to. And what these do, what the toxins do, is they compete with the minerals and slow the detox pathways. So the the detox pathways actually need minerals to run. The liver, the kidneys, the gut, they don't detox automatically. They rely on the minerals to do the work, to provide the energy for their processes. So that's why the toxic metals or the toxins just get mucked up and stuck in the body. And then medications like antibiotics and steroids and NSAIDs, those all increase the mineral demand and affect absorption. So those will shift our mineral balances as well. And because they're a chemical and considered a toxin in some ways, even though they may be helping the body temporarily, the body still has to detox those medications and get them out of the body at some point. So with absorption, that's another thing. So the chemicals can actually bind minerals in the gut they can disrupt the gut bacteria, they can alter bile flow. So the chemicals are interfering with digestion, and digestion is huge. If we don't have good digestion, if our pets don't have good digestion, then you have the symptoms of leaky gut. You've got the reflux randomly, you've got the bilious vomiting, you've got maybe diarrhea, constipation, gas, burping. You've got the gulpies with some of these guys, um, and that will then cause the minerals to just pass right through the gut unused because when digestion is messed up, the body can't absorb the minerals from the food. So the pitiful minerals that we have in our food supply can't be absorbed because um, because the gut is not healthy. So they just pass right through. And then there's stress. So stress also increases the need for minerals. So minerals like magnesium and zinc and potassium and sodium are all increased when your pet or you are under stress. So it's not like you caused this mineral imbalance. It's not a failure to care for your pet. It's just a reflection of modern life. We've got all these stressors, we've got all these exposures to chemicals because of our current situation and where we live and where we're at in life with living, and the body, our bodies and our pets' bodies have been adapting quietly for a long time with all these chemicals and toxins and just these low dose exposures over time and repeated exposures. Like when your pet walks on lawn that's been treated with chemicals, and the chemicals that we treat lawns with are going to be there long term. It's not like you spray them and then they're gone then in a few days. They stay there. And so your pet walks on it, licks their paws, they you're giving maybe monthly heartworm preventatives or flea and tick preventatives long term. So you've got these low dose repeated exposures and their body has to adapt. And it will until they get to the point where they can't. And that's when we see all um, these problems just get stuck and things are not working and you just can't get your pet over that plateau to get 100% better. So the test I'm talking about is called the pet fur mineral analysis, and unlike blood work, the fur test reflects patterns over time, over about 3 months, whereas blood work is just a snapshot. And a pet fur mineral analysis uses fur, which is really easy. It's a simple at home test. You just clip some fur and send it in. Let me get you a QR code. There we go. It's a QR code. All right. So just scan the QR code and it'll take you to the pet fur mineral analysis test. And the interesting thing is, um, this will show you what's been going on for a long period of time. And this is why blood work won't. So blood work is just a snapshot. It the blood is going to help the body at that very moment. And so what'll happen is the body protects the blood at all costs. And if your minerals drop or you need more, the body will borrow those minerals from the other tissues in the body and pull them into the blood. So your blood values will stay normal. And so that's why the blood work keeps being normal on everything, despite you or your pet feeling quite abnormal. And so all these imbalances build in other places, not the blood, because the body is really good at keeping the blood levels of your minerals normal by borrowing from other places. And once your blood levels do change, that means that the imbalance is really bad, and it's been going on a long time. So, the fur will show us what's been going on over 3 months and give us kind of this broad picture, of where all the minerals stand. And we're looking at nutritional minerals like calcium and magnesium and zinc. We're looking at environmental minerals, which are like from the household chemical exposure, from air pollution, from bad water, from food. And it also checks for toxic metals like mercury and lead and some other ones. The other really cool thing is when we look at all these minerals, we have to look at the patterns. So, like I was saying, the minerals work together and they need to work synergistically to power those processes in the body. They're kind of like the spark plugs of life. So, like if we have an imbalance in zinc and copper, that will show up as recurring skin problems or immune problems. And like if we have um, a disharmony in the magnesium and potassium, that will show up as digestive problems, nervous system problems, muscle problems. So we look at the patterns also and not just the individual mineral. So that's why you might be giving the right supplements, but the body can't absorb them and use them. And you might be feeding really super high quality food, but the mineral ratios are off. And so the nutrients can't be utilized. And you might be trying to do a detox. You might be trying to support the detox pathways, with milk thistle or turmeric. But the body doesn't have the mineral resources to drive those detox pathways to clear the toxins. So that's why your efforts, all these things that you're trying just don't land and they don't have the results that we're expecting. And that's frustrating. So when we find out, you know what I'm going to put up? I'm going to put the hair mineral analysis test for people. This is the one I ran. Actually, Dr. Hawks ran it on me. It was freaking amazing and it made so much sense. And it actually, when we looked at the patterns of the different minerals and the relationships, it matched exactly what my lab work and my hormone testing was saying. So pretty interesting. And also I did a bioscan and it matched what the bioscan was saying too. And then I was able to make some corrections in minerals and micro minerals and then start a gentle detox. So when supplements or when minerals are low, we can supplement. And when toxic metals are present, we can start detoxing gently. So we want to help the body release the stored toxins and then bind them and remove them in the gut while protecting the gut and the kidneys and the liver. We want to protect the organs while we're getting rid of those toxins. Let me put up a QR code for I have a supplement bundle for detoxing, and it's a collection of supplements that um, will replace minerals because when you do a detox, you're actually removing some minerals during the detox because of the binders. The binders will bind everything, so you have to also replace minerals during a detox. So it's got minerals, it's got support for kidneys and liver. Um, it's got digestive enzymes because your gut has to be working in order for a detox to work. And it's got supplements that help with detox, like chlorella and milk thistle and turmeric. So you do a detox kind of in stages, but this will give you some ideas on the products that I recommend for doing a detox. All right. So I know you care deeply about your pet. I know you've already done so much. I think, we had a comment last week about a pet parent that, was doing all the things and nothing was working for the pet's skin problems. So, if something still feels off, even after everything you've tried, it's okay to just kind of pause and, you know, kind of take a step back and look at things and consider doing the pet fur mineral analysis and see if your pet just doesn't have the spark plugs it needs to drive all these functions in order to heal, in order to get over that plateau or get over that hump and clear up those skin problems or those GI problems, or maybe the pain or arthritis symptoms or like weird behavioral problems, because sometimes we'll have weird behavioral problems that just come out of nowhere, and that's an indication that something is off also. And if what you're doing is not helping, this is a good place to look. And sometimes there are mood issues which show up as behavioral issues or energy issues in pets where they don't have enough energy, they don't want to go on their long hikes anymore. Something is just not right. So trust what you're seeing, dig a little deeper, and thanks for being here. You're doing a great job with your pet. And next week, we'll talk about how to figure out what your individual pet needs and how to get that help. All right. Thanks for being here.